In the far future, long after countless empires had risen and fallen, the galaxy was ruled by the Concordium, a great alliance of alien civilizations. They were proud, powerful, and wise. But among their millions of records, one name had faded into legend: humans. Some said humans were only a myth, a story told by old wanderers who claimed that once, before any known empire existed, there had been a strange race from a small blue world who reached the stars first. Others said humans destroyed themselves, burned their worlds, and vanished. No one truly knew. Until one day something changed. The forgotten station archivist Vorn Talik was not an explorer or a soldier. He was a quiet scholar from the reptilian race known as the Tarn, who loved history more than war. He worked on a small research vessel called the Eldara, searching old systems for ruins of lost civilizations. Most of the time, his missions were dull: ancient rocks, dead moons, or broken satellites. But when his scanners picked up an artificial structure orbiting a dying star in the Ravenna sector, he knew this was different. The station was ancient, built with materials unknown to the Concordium. Its surface was covered in layers of dust and radiation damage. No signal came from it. No lights, no energy, nothing. Yet it was still perfectly intact, as if time itself could not touch it. The captain of the Eldara wanted to mark the location and leave, fearing radiation. But Vorn insisted they investigate. "This is older than anything we have found," he said. "It could change everything we know about our history." After some hesitation, the captain agreed. The door opens. The exploration team entered the structure through a circular airlock that opened after 10,000 years, almost as if it had been waiting for someone. Inside, they found corridors made of smooth silver walls. Strange lights glowed weakly as they walked, as though recognizing their presence. Symbols and markings covered the walls, none of which matched any known alien language. But one shape appeared again and again, a human handprint carved deep into the metal. The crew recorded everything. They reached a vast chamber in the heart of the station. At its center stood a dark rectangular console with a glowing core. It was inactive, but when Vorn touched the panel, it came to life. A soft mechanical voice filled the room. "System rebooting. Core AI unit online." The crew froze. Then the voice spoke again. "Identify yourselves." Captain Relic stepped forward. "We are explorers of the Concordium." "Who are you?" There was a long pause. Then the voice replied, calm but heavy. "I am Erebus, Central Artificial Intelligence of the Human Defense Directorate. This station is a preservation node." "You are intruders." The crew stared in disbelief. Vorn's heart pounded. "Did you say human?" "Affirmative," the voice answered. "You have entered human territory." The forgotten name. The crew spent hours talking to the AI, trying to understand. Erebus spoke in simple but strange words. It claimed the station was built by humans millions of years ago. The last recorded event in its memory was something it called the Great Departure. When asked what happened to the humans, Erebus hesitated. "They transcended the limits of matter. They are not gone. They have become something greater." The aliens could not understand. "Greater? You mean they evolved?" Vorn asked. "Not evolved," Erebus replied. "Ascended." The crew shared uneasy glances. No known species had ever reached such power. The Concordium considered itself the peak of civilization, but if this was true, it meant they were only children compared to humanity. The Council's reaction: when the Eldara returned, the discovery spread quickly. The Concordium Council held secret meetings. Some species were curious, others afraid. Old stories resurfaced, tales of the firstborn, beings who tamed fire and light, who once ruled the stars and vanished before the younger races rose. If these humans were real, it would change history forever. The Council feared that knowledge of a race more powerful than themselves could cause chaos. Some members wanted the Eldara's crew silenced and the station destroyed, but Vorn refused to give up. He had copied all the data before returning. He believed the galaxy had the right to know the truth. The forbidden data late one night aboard the Eldara, Vorn secretly reactivated Erebus's data core. "You said humans ascended," he whispered. "How and why?" The AI's voice was softer now. "Because they had reached the end of the path. They explored every world, mastered every science. They learned to control energy, matter, and life. When there was nothing left to conquer, they turned inward and found a way to become more than flesh." Vorn frowned. "And they left no trace?" "They left many," Erebus said. but time erased most of them. Only the silent systems remain. Silent systems? Worlds once held by humans. They are forbidden zones now, avoided by all. The Concordium may think them empty, but they still sleep beneath the dust. Before Vorn could ask more, the ship's alarms blared. Concordium patrol ships were approaching. Fast. The escape. The captain of the Eldara received orders from the Council. Surrender all data and the AI or face destruction. It was clear. They wanted to bury the truth. Vorn ran to the bridge. We can't let them take Erebus. If they destroy this knowledge, humanity will be forgotten forever. The captain hesitated, torn between duty and curiosity. But when the patrol ships opened fire, the choice was made for them. The Eldara jumped to hyperspace, escaping into the dark. Inside the ship, Vorn asked Erebus where to go. The AI projected a star map. Hundreds of red dots appeared. These are the silent systems, it said, where the last of humanity's legacy sleeps. One of them holds the truth. Vorn stared at the glowing map, feeling a strange chill. And which one is that? The AI paused, then marked a single system with a white light, far beyond the known borders of the galaxy. The Ark of Sol, Erebus said. The final home of the human race. The warning before entering hyperspace, Vorn asked one last question. If humans were so powerful, why did they not rule the galaxy forever? For a long time, Erebus was silent. Then it spoke in a voice almost like a whisper. Because they learned that power is not the purpose of life. They saw what would come. Endless wars, endless pride. So they left to watch from beyond. They gave the stars to the children who would follow. Vorn didn't fully understand, but he felt awe and fear. As the Eldara vanished into hyperspace, the Concordium sent fleets to hunt them. The Council could not allow such knowledge to spread. But it was too late. A message had already been sent, hidden in deep space frequencies. We have found them. The humans were real. End of Part 1. Vorn sat quietly in his quarters, staring at the image of the ancient handprint glowing on his datapad. It was small, simple, human. He wondered what kind of beings they must have been, brave enough to master the stars, wise enough to walk away from them. Erebus's voice broke the silence. Do you wish to see them, Vorn Talik? He looked up slowly. See them? You said they're gone. No, Erebus replied. They never left. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent and waiting. The Eldara turned toward the distant system marked Sul, carrying the hope and fear of rediscovering the oldest truth in the galaxy. The stars ahead shimmered like a silver sea as the research ship Eldara crossed into forbidden space. No navigation maps showed this region. The systems here were silent. No life, no signal, only ruins drifting in endless darkness. Archivist Vorn Talik stood on the bridge, his scaled hands shaking as he watched the sensors flicker. The coordinates given by the ancient AI, Erebus, pointed toward a dying sun surrounded by wreckage, a place long forgotten by every known civilization. This is it, Erebus said calmly through the ship's speakers. The Ark of Sol lies ahead. The crew stared at the view with awe and fear. They had escaped the Concordium fleets, but now they had entered a place even their ancestors dared not approach. The Ark revealed at first. They thought it was a planet. Then they realized it was not natural at all. A vast structure hung in orbit around the dying sun. A metallic sphere the size of a moon, covered in strange geometric patterns. Faint energy lines glowed across its surface like veins of light running beneath metal skin. What is that thing? The captain whispered. Erebus answered, It is the Ark. It was built at the end of the human era to preserve what could not be allowed to die. The ship's scanners went wild. The sphere emitted no radiation, no heat, no signals. It was as if it absorbed everything around it. Yet inside, massive power signatures pulsed, steady and strong. Vorn could not take his eyes off it. It's been sleeping all this time, he murmured. Waiting. The guardians of the past as Eldara approached the Ark. The hull began to vibrate. The air grew thick with static. Lights dimmed. Erebus warned them, remain calm. The Ark is scanning us. Suddenly, holographic figures appeared on the bridge, tall, human-shaped forms made of light. Their faces were calm but unreadable. They spoke in a language none of the aliens could understand. Vorn looked at Erebus. What are they saying? The AI paused for a moment, then translated. They ask why the children of the stars have come to the house of their makers. The captain was speechless. Vorn slowly stepped forward. We seek the truth, he said. We found your station. We learned of humans. We want to understand what happened to them. The figures looked at one another. Then one spoke again, voice deep and resonant. Then come, Seeker. The ark will open for you. And with that, the great sphere began to move. Gigantic metal plates shifted and unfolded like the petals of a flower. A blinding golden light poured out, revealing a vast entrance. The heart of humanity. The Eldara entered the ark, passing through an energy field that hummed like a heartbeat. Inside, they saw things no one could explain. Floating cities of glass, rivers of light, and statues of human forms carved from crystal. It was a world inside a machine. Erebus guided them toward the core chamber. This place holds the final record of humanity, it said. You will now see what they became. In the chamber's center was a great sphere of white energy pulsing softly. Surrounding it were hundreds of transparent pods, each containing a sleeping figure. They were human, perfectly preserved as if frozen in time. Vorn approached one pod and placed his hand on the glass. The face inside was calm, peaceful, and strange, familiar yet alien. He whispered, They're still here. Erebus replied, They are the last physical forms. Their minds exist elsewhere, in the higher dimension they created before the departure. The truth of the departure, Vorn looked up. Tell us the truth, Erebus. Why did humans leave? What really happened? The AI's tone changed, deeper, almost sorrowful. When humanity reached the height of power, they realized something terrible. They had mastered creation but lost meaning. They could build stars, cure death, and move worlds, yet they felt empty. So they searched for something beyond power, something eternal. Vorn listened in silence. They built the Ark not to escape destruction, but to protect others from their mistakes. They sealed their knowledge here and moved their consciousness beyond physical form. They became the Watchers, observing the galaxy, guiding its growth in secret. The crew was silent. The air seemed heavy with wonder. Then, Are they still watching us? Vorn asked quietly. Yes, Erebus answered. And now they have decided to return. The Concordium's arrival before anyone could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. The ship's radar lit up with red signals. Concordium warships had entered the system. They followed us, shouted the captain. Through the viewports, massive fleets of alien ships appeared, forming a blockade around the Ark. On the comms, a harsh voice barked orders. This is the Concordium High Fleet. You are charged with illegal exploration of restricted zones. Surrender immediately. The captain replied, You don't understand. This place is not a weapon, it's history. But the council didn't care. To them, the Ark was a threat, a relic of a race that could make their power look small. Without warning, the alien fleet opened fire. Beams of energy slammed into the Ark's surface, yet the blast disappeared instantly, absorbed like rain hitting an ocean. The awakening inside the Ark, the ground began to tremble. The pods around Vorn glowed brighter and brighter. Erebus spoke, voice calm amid the chaos. The children have drawn their swords against their parents. It is time for them to remember. The great sphere at the center flared with light. The human figures inside the pods began to dissolve into streams of energy, merging into the glowing core. The light expanded outward, filling every corridor of the Ark. Outside, the alien fleets froze. Their weapons stopped working. Ships lost power, drifting helplessly, and then from the heart of the Ark they appeared. Beings of pure energy, human in shape but vast in presence, stepped forward into the void of space. They were neither flesh nor machine. Their voices echoed through every ship, every world, every mind. We are the firstborn. We are humanity. The message to the galaxy, every species across the galaxy heard their words, carried through waves of thought and light. Long ago, we gave you the stars. We wanted you to grow, to learn, to build without fear. You have done well, but you have also forgotten where you came from. You built empires and with them pride. You silenced history, fearing what it might reveal. Yet history cannot be erased. We are your makers, not of your bodies, but of your spirit. We are the dream that led you to the stars. In that moment, the fleet stopped their attack. The ships of the Concordium floated silently, their crews staring in awe. Vorn stood on the bridge, tears in his reptilian eyes. He whispered, They were real. All this time. The radiant beings looked down at the tiny ships. Do not fear. We will not rule you. We have seen what power brings. We return only to guide, to teach, and to remind you of what you can become. The light of Sol the Ark released a wave of light that spread across the system, awakening long-dead planets, repairing broken satellites and restoring lost worlds. The dying sun began to burn bright again, reborn with new energy. The Concordium ships drifted silently as their scanners filled with impossible readings. Every weapon was useless, every defense meaningless, but there was no attack, only peace. The humans, now more energy than flesh, raised their glowing hands toward the fleets. Go home, they said. Tell your people the firstborn have returned. The age of darkness is over. Then, as slowly as they appeared, the human figures faded back into the light of the ark. The great sphere began to close again, sealing itself in silence. A new beginning. Hours later, the Concordium fleets retreated. They no longer saw the humans as a threat, but as something sacred, the forgotten ancestors of all who now lived under the stars. Vorn stayed behind with Erebus, gazing at the ark one last time. Will they come back again? He asked. They never truly left, Erebus replied. Whenever a new species looks at the stars and wonders who they are, humanity is there. In curiosity, in courage. In creation, Vorn smiled softly. Then maybe we're not their children. Maybe we're their reflection. Erebus did not answer. It didn't need to. The Eldara turned away, engines burning softly as it began the long journey home. Behind them, the Ark of Sol glowed faintly, a golden eye watching over the galaxy once more. Epilogue. The whisper of the firstborn across the galaxy. Strange things began to happen. Ancient ruins lit up for the first time in eons. Long-dead satellites began to transmit forgotten human songs. And on distant worlds, children started dreaming of faces they had never seen. Faces that looked almost human. The Concordium declared a new age, the age of the firstborn. And in every academy, every school, and every archive, the name human was spoken again with awe and respect. The legend had become truth, because the galaxy finally remembered. And the forgotten race had come home.